Alrighty, boys. Should you buy a Yukon or Escalade? Here we go. Paul's experience. I've owned a 2019 Escalade. Oh my goodness, what am I talking about? 2019 Yukon. Brand new. And now I bought the Escalade brand new. I think for 3 weeks. It took me 3 weeks to put on 1,400 miles. You could tell just by that I freaking love driving this thing. This is my family rig. I owned the Yukon for 6 months. Yeah, 6 months and some change. And I traded in with 3,000 miles, guys. 3,000 miles after 6 months. That's my Yukon, Denali. And my Escalade's at 3 weeks, and that's at 1,400. That alone should tell you volumes. Anyways, I know I don't have the Escalade, or excuse me, the Yukon in this video. But primarily this video is going to be a lot about the Yukon. A little bit less about the Escalade. Escalade videos to follow, but I will use the Escalade to prove certain points. So, here we go. Let's go for a little cruise. January of 2019. Yes, I traded in my Ford GT350. It's a Shelby. Awesome little vehicle. I just had to get rid of that vehicle. Personal reasons. So, with me finding out in January, on my birthday, which is January 12th, I found out I was going to have a fourth kid. So that even gave me even more reason to get rid of the GT350, because there was a crappy story. Awesome car, awesome intentions, but crappy story too. So just sometimes you got to let things go and move on with life. So, towards the end of the month of January, I ended up buying me a Yukon, a brand spanking new Yukon, right off the lot. Excuse me, more like right off the showroom floor. It was pepper dust, awesome. If you guys are curious, go back in my video histories that I've uploaded, and you'll see that I've uploaded a video of my Yukon. Awesome little SUV. And when I was doing my search, I sat in a Suburban, I sat in the Yukon, and I sat in the Escalade. The bones of those vehicles are all the same. Okay? I clearly understand. Excuse me. But I always said I'd buy me a Denali. Excuse me, a Yukon XL Denali. If I ever needed a family SUV, I'd buy me a Denali. It's the perfect SUV, yada yada. I like it, right? Time came, I tried to slip into a Lexus. I put up the third, right before signing the paperwork, I put up the third row seat, and my wife's like, where am I going to put the stroller? I'm like, keep one seat down. She's like, Paul, this just ain't going to work out, really, if you think about it. I'm like, okay. I'll go do what I said I would do. Excuse me, guys. Let me fix this camera. So, Paul always said, he's going to go out and buy a Yukon Denali. So, off I went. I bought me a Denali. I walked in. Now, here's my mistake, guys. I walked in. I said I was going to buy it. Checked it out. Liked it. Said I want to buy this vehicle. I signed the papers. Walked out. Within 2 days, my bank took care of the financing. With the dealership, I came back 2 days later. I took off. First day I drove it home, I'm like, man, I just can't get comfortable in this thing. Gosh darn it. Well, it's a new vehicle. It'll take some time to get used to them seats. Well, shortly after that, I drove the vehicle again. I just couldn't get myself comfortable. It was just like, what is going on? So I'm like, something must be up with the seat. Someone's plus size got in the seat and screwed it up somehow. So I go to the dealership test drive, attempted to test drive. I barely pulled that Denali off the parking spot. I said, no, the same junk. I put it in reverse, parked in. I said, these seats are a pile of junk. Guys, keep in mind, it's a brand new Yukon. My Yukon was brand new. I had 12 miles on it. The Yukon that I was test driving just hit the parking lot. I mean, we're talking about brand spanking new Yukons, and those seats are junk. Just, I can't vocalize how big of a pile of junk they are. Now, rewind. Why did I go with the Yukon Denali? I felt like it's a sweet middle, you know what I mean? GMC, Denali is their pride and joy. I like all them little details, all them bells and whistles. Yeah, I got to pay for it, but I liked it, you know? I looked at the Suburban, way too simple for me. I didn't really kick off with it. When I looked at the Escalade, I just couldn't stand these touchscreen nonsense bullcrap. Absolutely love the knobs. Very truck-like, but that didn't bother me. It was very old school, the Yukon inside. But that didn't bother me. What freaking threw it overboard for me is the fact that I had to figure something out with the seats. Now, keep in mind, I'm like, oh, ain't no big deal. I'm just going to put me some Escalade seats in my Denali. Well, sadly, I went out and sat in the Escalade. I was in the area, Coeur d'Alene, Cadillac. And I sat in one of them Escalades. I'm like, dude, this thing's just fancier name. It says Cadillac on it, or it has the Cadillac logo or whatever, but nothing better about it. What a pile of junk. And he's like, excuse me, sir. I'm like, these seats are a pile of junk. Do you have better seats? And the guy looks at me like, okay, I see what you're looking for. So he took me into a Platinum. I'm like, okay, that's fancy. Let's do Platinum. Guys, Platinum is a world of difference, okay? GM and any of you GM reps, if you're listening, guys, get your crap together, man. So the seats that my GMC had were the same seats, give or take, just materials used. I'm talking about the form of the seat, the actual seat, the cushioning of the seat being very much the same as the Yukon, or excuse me, the Denali versus the regular Escalade Luxury, I think they call themselves, and Premium. Only when you get into the Platinum, you get the massage seats and you get a lot more options on the seats. I'm like, ooh, I like this a lot. So to you GM reps, come on guys, get your crap together, build some decent seats, decent mediocre seats, and then Platinum's great. I got nothing to complain about. I'm driving a Platinum, if you guys can't tell. For you guys, side note, easiest way to tell Platinum, I don't know if the older years, I've heard my neighbor, I own a company, and next to my shop where I do business in my company, there's a guy that does a lot of Yukons and Escalades, and he said not all Platinums have it, but pretty much if you just look at the seat, that's a dead giveaway. It's a Platinum. I don't know on the older ones if they all have them or not. I mean, if you can't read, you obviously got Platinum there. I still haven't taken off the plastic. Well, that's fancy. Anyways, that's a dead giveaway. This is the reason why I got myself into an Escalade. Now, I'll do a little bit follow up in this video. There's a lot more to the Platinum than just that, but back to the story. So once I got introduced to the Platinum, I realized that the seats integrated into the center stack. So I'm not that technologically advanced to be able to integrate the computer and all that. So I looked into it. I mean, it was ridiculous. You go to these guys, they're like upholstery shops and whatnot, like, hey, can you build me a seat? Yeah, what are you looking for? Yada, yada. And like, what kind of leather would you like? I'm like, keep it the same leather. He's like, didn't you want me to rebuild your seat? I'm like, I have a brand new seat. I want the form of the seat to be rebuilt. And they're like, nah. And then I found a guy that would do it for $3,200. He'd give me decent cushioning. I'm like, well, that's not bad. I'll think about it. So I'm like, well, before I do that, why don't I just give it a shot? So I hit up like 3 or 4 dealerships to give me a quote what they would pay me for my Cadillac dealerships, what they would pay me for my Yukon. I mean, guys, the prices were ridiculous. And I'm out one day helping my buddy get himself a Ram. I got himself an 18 Ram. I might do a video on that. Pretty neat little piece of equipment. So he got himself a Ram, and on the way out, I noticed this black Escalade sitting there across the street. So I go up to the sales guy. I'm like, hey, can I check this out? He's like, yeah, go ahead. So like 2 minutes later, he didn't even get the time to put on his coat and come out and meet us because the Escalade is right in front of the door. And I'm like, hey, yeah, can you give me one of those but used? He's like, no, I can't. I don't have anything used. But what's wrong with that one? I'm like, I'm tired of getting hit with the depreciation. I was like, all right, well, so we talk numbers. He's like, what would it take? I'm like, pay off my Yukon. I'll buy your brand new Escalade. And he's like, so what would it take? I told him exactly the numbers it would take. But in short, pretty much pay off what I owe on my Yukon, which was significant. It was a lot. And I'll buy your brand new Escalade. So they worked, and I worked my magic, and with some like Ed Bullion likes to say, with some shrewd negotiation, we walked out a whopping $1,500, or I walked out with a whopping $1,500 loss. Man, but changed up this road. I'm getting lost here. I lost $1,500 on my Yukon, and I bought me a brand new, at a smoking price, Escalade Platinum. So, yeah, that one was a no-brainer. That's what I got into. That's how I got into this Platinum. Now, reverse a little bit. Why did I do the initial switch? It was all because of the seats. Now, after owning one for a little bit, it's a lot more than just the seats. Initially, I was buying it for the seats, but there's a lot more to this. I think I'll wrap it up as far as the Escalade goes. Now, to underline the Yukon, guys, the engine, the transmission are identical. The bones, do you guys realize the bones are the same on these vehicles? It's those little bits and pieces that make up the difference. Once again, I'm going to try to leave the Escalade alone now, just underline the Yukon and wrap up this video. The Yukon handled marginally worse because of this magnetic suspension. You know, you got adjustable suspension here. This handles marginally better. It's not worth it. What's worth it is the seats and quite a few more details. As much as I'm comparing these two videos, and I'm trying to stay away from the Escalade and just underline that the Yukon's not a bad vehicle. It's just not the vehicle for me, and I would advise 90% of you guys not to buy it. Hold on a sec, Paul. You just said it's not a bad vehicle. Yes. The Yukon is the middle rip-off and stuff. Product, item, whatever you want to call it. Just item. So what GM did, they gave you a Suburban, they gave you a Yukon, and they gave you an Escalade. My advice to you, you know, as long as you get the 6.2 engine, awesome engine, guys. I can't say enough of good things about this engine. I absolutely love this engine. It's a very well thought out engine. It gets phenomenal gas mileage, guys. Keep in mind, well, we've got to talk about gas mileage too. For some odd reason, this Escalade gets a lot better gas mileage than my Yukon. I don't know, guys. It's, yeah, aerodynamics a little bit different, but something's up with this thing. This vehicle gets abnormally good gas mileage. But anyways, back to the Yukon. I had the 10-speed tranny. I had the 6.2 engine. I loved it. The suspension was good enough. The suspension is better than this Escalade. I don't know if the regular Escalades get these modes or not, but nor here or there. It was just the seat that really pushed me away. Now, little details. You know, I mean, this glass is a little different. Tempered glass, I think that's what it's called. Pretty much there's a film in. There's two pieces of glass here, and there's a film. If you roll down your window, you'll feel the sticky glue in between. So that being said, there's value. There's definitely value in the Escalade, but the Yukon's not a bad rig. And here's the main reason why I would say don't buy it. It's a ripoff. If you don't care about little detail and little awesome real stitching, like this is real stuff, okay? These stitches aren't just fake stuff. This is real stitching, and it's awesome to a certain degree. It's awesome to a certain point. At some point, I'm gonna have to start paying for it. I mean, if this rips here, you know, you got this whole stitch going south on you, in my opinion. But not to get too carried away, the Suburban is an awesome basic vehicle. The Yukon is a wannabe luxury pile of junk seat, half leather, because you don't get the real leather in the Denali. I call it fake leather. But anyways, that's not the deal breaker. The deal breaker is how off those seats are. So why not get the same quality build, okay? Same quality level. I mean, if you look at the dash, they're pretty much the same dash on the Suburban and the Yukon. This is a little bit, I mean, quite a bit different, but whatever. You guys see what I'm saying? So I would advise 90% of you guys to either buy top of the line Escalade, so you have an Escalade. You don't have a wannabe Escalade. You don't want to just fit in and be cool. I own an Escalade, but I don't even have normal adjusting seats. I don't mean to insult anyone, but it's just dumb. But anyways, so to conclude my video, if you don't care much about this fit and finish, buy yourself the Suburban. You'll be happy. Just make sure you have a 10-speed in there and a 6.2 engine. Off you go. If you really care about detail, and you want yourself nice seats, like, yes, I have back problems, but keep in mind, I own work trucks, Ram work trucks, and those work seats or the leather seats or the limited seats, those all work for me, and those are just basic seats. And if you do a 2-minute research on Google, how awful those seats are, I'm not the only one complaining about the seats on the Yukon. So even a work-grade Ram seat, I could sit in there for a day, but not the Yukon. The Yukon got bad to where I just do drives 10, 15 minutes, and I would just say, I'm done. It hurt my back. Yeah, it sounds like I'm whining, but just fatter than max. It's horrible. For that 10%, why I said 90, for that 10% just would like to see a little bit better interior, but you're not nitpicky like I am. You're not like really into detail. Yeah, the Yukon Denali is a good option. It really is. There's a little bit more bells and whistles, convenience. It's more convenience than actual quality higher end vehicle. That would be properly and fair to say. But anyways, I'm not really pointing the video here. More or less, conclusion is I've owned this vehicle for 3 weeks. I've put 1,400 miles. I love this vehicle. I call it the school bus. I love the school bus. When I initially bought a family rig, it was we got a fourth kid coming. You can't fit it in a passenger vehicle. My family loves we have an 05 antique Mercedes. I call it antique, just getting old. But you can't fit 4 kids in the back, so this is the vehicle we chose. So with 6 months of ownership of my Yukon, we only did 3,000 miles on it, so that alone should tell you quite a bit. Yeah. Anyways, I'm done, guys. From an ownership perspective, I said what I had to say. As far as space and all that, they're the same exact vehicle, man. You're not getting more or less as far as that. As far as practicality, guys, you're not really getting more besides the seats in this Platinum. You still got your power, doors, power steps. The Denali had it. The Escalade has it. You got 4 monitors in the back. I mean, who in the world needs 4 monitors? This thing has a monitor. I don't know if you can see it. And then you got a couple in there up on the roof. Oh, you can't see it. It's getting dark out here. As you can tell, this is a full-on family rig. I love it. I can't express how much I enjoy driving this thing. I could care. I give 2 craps. I'm a diesel guy. I love my Ram truck. But if I have a chance, excuse me, if I have a choice to drive the Escalade, oh man, I'll drive this thing any day. It's smoother, it's quieter, it's relaxing. I think it's phenomenal gas mileage, Kate. I mean, I need to underline that, guys. And I don't know if this is normal. This is 50-50. 50% of those 579 miles were in town, and 50% were out, driving. I wish they had the average speed so you guys could understand the whole data there, but I guess you got to take my word for it now. But yeah, I don't drive this thing like a bat out of hell. I don't really push on it, but I drive like a normal human being. And yes, I do have a lead foot, and sometimes once in a blue moon I will get into it, but that's very rare. What in the world is that SUV doing there? Drunk driving or what? I don't know. I don't see another vehicle involved, so I'm guessing drunk driving. Distracted driving, maybe. Anyways, guys, as always, may the Lord bless you. May you all have a mighty fine day, and let me know in the comment section what else you want to know. I'll do my best to reply. For my regulars, the Lord has blessed me, and I'm over my nightmare. I'm back on YouTube, and I'll be doing videos regularly now. All right. As always, God bless. Bye.